All right, here we go. Good evening and welcome to the Ask Weldon Show, episode 240, learning from mistakes in Fortnite and keeping things fresh. So as you may notice, my environment is a little bit different. I'm about 30 minutes late to the stream and the show, and I don't have any overlays or anything. It's just me and the camera, and I've got a little mic. So I am currently in Los Angeles. You're seeing the show filming from my phone instead of filming from my, my gaming rig. And so the format of the show is going to be a little different today, but the content is going to be the same. I have 3 questions. We're going to go through them. I'll hold the microphone up to the speaker so you can hear them. And then I'm going to go directly to bed because it's almost 9 p.m. here. And I've been going to get up at 5:30 every single morning that I'm in LA in order to do my activities and my work and everything before the esports day kicks off at noon. So that's where I am. What I'm doing is here training Team Solo Mid for a 2-week boot camp. So that's why streaming schedule might be a little hectic. I'm not necessarily going to be broadcasting the show at 7:30 p.m. every single night. I might have to move it around because I need to do one-on-one sessions, possibly after scrims. In which case I'll probably do it, in the morning for an EU stream or something like that. But anyway, keep in touch over Discord for that. Obviously, if you've seen my announcement video, you know that I'm taking a hiatus from Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram stories, and Reddit. So anything you see on Twitter will basically be broadcast through my buffer app, which keeps a buffer between me and Twitter. And same with Instagram, and then Snapchat stories, Instagram stories. The only place you can find those right now are on the paid version. So if you go to Patreon, patreon.com/mygamesweldon, you will find the paid, like a paywall version of my normal Snapchat and Instagram stories. And I'm just doing them there because obviously I'm not going to stop my Patreon stories just because I'm taking a hiatus from social media, but I am going to stop my social media. So I expect those stories to start up again sometime in the future, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, I don't know. Depends on how my life goes. But for now, if you need my fitness stories, daily fitness vlogging, or you need to keep updated with what's happening during the TSM bootcamp, that is your best bet, patreon.com/mygamesweldon, and then download the Lens app to your phone, the Patreon app, and you can watch the Lens there and keep up to date with the posts that are behind the paywall. And of course, connect your Discord so you get the Discord chat role on my Discord server. Yeah, no other big announcements. Check out my announcement video. I'm sure it's in the related videos for this one on YouTube, and you can see what's going on there. All right, let's jump into the show. First question is from Nathan, and it's, sometimes I feel like I'm going through the motions. How do I make it feel fresh? Let's check it out. So hopefully this works.
Hey Weldon, this is Nate. Just wanted to quickly say that I'm a big fan of what you're doing on YouTube, and even though I haven't listened to a lot of your episodes, the ones that I have had a pretty big impact on my life. Anyway, my question is, because of online classes and a part-time job where I get to pick my hours, I've been in charge of my schedule, and I've scheduled time for school, for work, and for League of Legends, which is something that I want to improve on. I don't want to stagnate. I want to go further than I ever have before. Some days I'll wake up motivated, and other days I'll wake up and I feel like I'm going through the motions. And I really hate that. So my question is, besides going on walks or cleaning up my room every now and again, how do I keep things feeling fresh? Because sitting in my room for a majority of the day does start to feel stale every now and again.
All right, Nathan, thank you very much for the question. So essentially, when you have a set schedule and you have some goals you're trying to achieve and your motivation is going up and down, you're gonna have days where stuff feels stale. How do you keep it feeling fresh? Yeah, that's a good question. I think this is a little bit personality driven, because for some people, they need that kind of fresh stimulus all the time. For some people, they need things never to change or feel fresh. They want the constant kind of drone of the ordinary. That second personality trigger, that or whatever, like that's me. I like it when things are just never changing. You know, I just want to wake up at the same exact time every day, go to the gym, do the same routine, eat the same thing right after. I want everything to just be kind of like, I don't have to think about it at all, and it's not fresh. It just kind of like passes me by, all right? But I understand, because sometimes I'm also like going to the gym and I'm like, I need something to push me to try harder today. You know, I need something to cut me out of my rut. And in my opinion, the most dangerous thing to do is to break habits. So you shouldn't break habits. You should always try to make your habits last through discipline. So you should discipline yourself through those rough patches of low motivation by keeping up the most fundamental habits you have, right? So the ones like getting up and what you do after you get up, and your diet and your physical activity, okay? And then your very basic, you know, fundamentals of training that you're always like doing your review or doing your mindfulness or whatever it is. All right, so then how do you make things feel fresh, like in a mental or a psychological way? I think that this is where you start playing games with yourself, right? So you one trick a champion, or you manipulate the goals of the game to be like a completely different goal. So essentially what you would do is you'd say, okay, my goal is not to win this game. It's not even to like, you know, do the thing I'm supposed to do with my champion. My goal is to like do this completely other thing that's like a mini game within the game that you're doing. And usually these are going to be related around training skills. So for example, when I was doing League of Legends, what I would do is I would like one trick a champion, and I would make it my goal to like kill a specific opposing champion, or to interrupt a spell on the opposing team. When I was doing things like shooters and battle royales, I would make it my goal to play with a specific gun in a specific location, and like to finesse that to the extreme maximum. So essentially you create these like mini games within the game that allow you to pursue mastery in a very small vertical, where you can constantly feel and see your progress. Because it's that step-by-step progress that you feel that really excites your mind and entices you into the pursuit of this development. So basically, create mini games that expose your development so you can experience progress, so that you can be excited about it. And the same is true in the gym. If you need that to be fresh, you have to find a new exercise that you haven't done before that you can start, and you can see progress in a day or two. Because what usually happens is you stagnate on your progress, and you stagnate on your movement forward, in terms of like, how do I want to put it? In terms of like your what you see on paper, right? Or what you feel in your body. Maybe you're just stuck on 5 pull-ups for like a year. Then you got to find some way of feeling progress on that. Yeah, that's my answer. Hope it's helpful. And let's jump into question number 2, which is from Adit. And he asks, how do I learn from my mistakes in Fortnite? And let's hear what he has to say.
Hi Weldon, this is Adit. And I've been grinding Fortnite for 2 weeks, and every time I die, I always try to learn and identify what my mistake was. But sometimes after a game or two, I die by the exact same reason. Is there anything I can do about it so I don't do it again? And if you don't mind, what can I do about the heart race in late game when there's like 3 people alive? Thanks, Weldon.
All right, thank you, Adit, for your question. So first of all, about the heart racing, when there's like 3 people alive and it's the end of the game, and you're like trying to figure out what to do, lean into it. You're always going to be adrenaline pumping there, and you always need to like take a few breaths and find the center of the chaos. So your mind should still be like frantic, right? You're not trying to like calm yourself, but you're trying to still yourself. So as things are like rushing through in your mind, you are observing them and choosing your decisions wisely, rather than being swept up in the train of emotions and thought that's kind of going through. So I would not try to control that in any way. I would simply try to, and I would not necessarily try to ride it. And I don't think that's the right analogy. I would try to like step aside and observe it, and then calmly kind of like pick the right solution. Okay, so how do you learn from mistakes in Fortnite? This comes down to like narrowing down your focus. So you review all your mistakes. You're probably choosing too many mistakes. So you need to like basically look for patterns instead of lists of mistakes. You need to look for categories of mistakes, lump them together, categorize them as like a training path, and then being like, okay, this is the first thing I need to be able to do, and the second thing, and then you essentially train those things, and you recognize and collect other mistakes in your review, but you do not worry about repeating them, because the way the human brain needs to learn is with a single-minded focus on like a task-specific element. And if you distribute that attention between too many different tasks, you're only going to improve incrementally in each of them, and you're not going to feel that progress. It's not going to be as like stark and as sudden and as powerful and as fast. So I would say like a single-minded focus on a specific category of mistake, of which you can focus on a specific kind, and that is your excuse in the entire game to do that one thing. So your focus in that game is to pick up a specific gun and only use it, and use it in every single situation. And if it's a short range gun, you literally have to like charge the person and survive until you get into range of them, and then engage the fight then. So get that kind of categorical learning in place and that single-minded focus, and sacrifice success in other areas of the game. This is very similar to the first question. In other areas of the game in order to train that skill specifically. All right, thanks for your question. We're going to jump onto the final question of the show. Before I do, remember to check out the Mac program, mindgames.gg/MAC, and use the code AskWeldon. AskWeldon is the code. That is my training program that I'm using to essentially support everything I do on the Mind Games channel. And right now, it's supporting the development of the app, which is going to replace it and kind of like gobble it up. And the beta is coming. I think we have about 6 weeks of development left, hopefully, before we can launch. So maybe we're getting there in the next 2 months. It depends on like how the financing goes. And essentially what it is right now is 49 videos, online training, 7 modules over 7 weeks. So 7, like essentially every single day for 7 weeks. And it's mindfulness, acceptance and commitment training protocol. So basically using acceptance commitment therapy, ACT, and mindfulness-based performance enhancement to focus on mindfulness, mindfulness performance enhancement, or mindfulness-based performance enhancement, MBPE. And so it's a online video series teaching mindfulness-based performance enhancement over 7 weeks for $25. And soon it's going to be an app where you have trajectories of lectures, and which is one part of the video, and the mindfulness training sessions, which are a separate part of the video that you can kind of choose independently, and it's all going to be integrated on your phone and offline also. So that's kind of like the first step with the app features. But anyway, you should check it out, mindgames.gg/MAC. Get in now under the wire. Get into the beta for, if you're a member, when the beta starts, at which point we'll close sales, and then we'll open it again under the new model, which will be subscription, but you will be grandfathered in if you currently own the current program. Or if you want to support the brand, you don't really care about this training at all, go to patreon.com/mindgamesweldon, which I just started, and you can check that out there. You can basically sub for the same amount as a Twitch sub and get the same channel in Patreon, but as well as the, like I was saying before, the public stories. And my computer screen just shut off, so I have to open it so we can get to the last question from Nicholas.
Hi Weldon, this is Nicholas, and I'm a mid-gold Rengar main who's been climbing a lot due to the current state of the game and how Rengar performs in it. And I was wondering, is there a way I can continue to hold my current elo, which is above my usual, when he gets nerfed? Or, you know, the game doesn't favor him as much. Thanks.
All right, Nicholas, fantastic question. First of all, fantastic self-awareness to understand what's happening when you one-trick an OP champion up to a slightly higher rank. When you one-trick any champion, if you switch off that champion, you're going to see a deficit, a performance decrease in terms of your ranking, and objectively as well, like in terms of your actual performance. My recommendation is to understand the principles at work here. The goal behind one-tricking is to accelerate your rank gain so that you can play against better players, so that you can download the fundamentals of the game faster because you have better opponents, and so that you can like essentially learn the non-mechanical stuff, the decision-making stuff, more thoroughly, because it gets punished more accurately for your mistakes. So what you should do is you should try as much as possible to do the upscale macro kind of things that are independent of your champion. So like, where's the opposing jungler? What is the best way to play into their comp? What is the best way to path into their comp for my first jungle clear? What are my predictions about which laners are going to win and lose based on purely on their matchups, and where's their jungler most likely to put their attention? How can I coordinate my team to track where they are and what they're doing? What is my composition's win condition, and how do I enable it while still thinking about the opposing team's win condition and trying to disable theirs? So the more that you're able to just like automate all the decision making around your skirmishing, around your mechanics, and around your like camp farming, the more that you're able to communicate with your team and do this like higher order thinking, and then download that by being punished for being incorrect with your assumptions from your higher order, like higher ELO teammates essentially. And then when the champion's nerfed, if you want to one trick him or if you want to one trick somebody else, you will have the like game sense that you need to succeed at that ELO, independent of the quality of the champion that you're playing. So, and the amount that it can affect the team, right? So that is the goal. The goal is to maximize your learning from getting punished at that ELO by making incorrect assumptions. And so you have to challenge your assumptions and push yourself on like better guesses of what move you should do, and really focus on your macro decision making and your skirmishing decision making, like target selection in skirmishes, when to go in, when to back out, when to do something else like a cross map play, when to actually run across the map and join the active play, versus splitting or sweeping a bunch of camps in the meanwhile. So all of these decision making things that have like kind of like a little bit to do with your champion, but really nothing to do with your champion. Right, I mean, to do with your champion and based of like the basis of what decision they are, but as in you can learn the same things when you swap out the champ, right? They're not like based on your fingers training volume on the keyboard. That is the stuff you should learn at high ELO while you're there. Then you won't drop down at all. Or you'll drop down a very small commensurate amount, but not all the way back to the basis, and then you'll catch it back up once you remaster the new champion that you're going to one trick, or whether you kind of like upgrade your Rengar after it gets nerfed. All right, that's my answer, that's my opinion, and that is the show. Thanks for tuning in today. Make sure to check it out live, twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon. Make sure to check out the Mac program if you want to do mindfulness-based performance enhancement, good for esport, good for anything else. Make sure to check out patreon.com/mindgamesweldon if you want to support what I'm doing with the brand, support the app, support the TSM bootcamp that's going on, and catch out my fitness vlogging on my Lens, which is the only place right now that I'm kind of doing those Snapchat, Instagram style fitness vlog stories at the moment. All right, thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow. Okay, end of